Hi, everybody. Sam from Developing Mathematical Thinking. And today we're going to look at a very famous assessment item called the broken ruler. It's shown up on all kinds of large-scale tests and in a lot of curricular resources. And it highlights a few misconceptions that kids often have with linear measurement. We're going to talk about where those misconceptions come from and just some simple strategies to kind of help support fixing those misconceptions. So here we've got a broken ruler. And if I were to put a segment to measure that ran from 3 to 8, a lot of kids, when presented with different answer options, actually a majority of kids get this item wrong. The most common incorrect answer is 8. Now, you can kind of see where that might come from. That's at the end of the ruler. Technically, it's at the end of the object you're measuring. The issue with that is that that's a sign that students aren't thinking of the fact that in measurement, 0 is arbitrary. If you haven't measured any units yet, you're technically starting at 0 regardless of where you are on your measurement tool. So a couple of ways to help with that. So number one, just emphasizing the idea of 0 when counting, because when young kids start counting, they count discrete objects starting at 1, 2, 3, 4, but getting them to actually count things like steps. Start at 0 and don't say 1 until you've taken a full complete step and your foot has actually hit the ground. And just repeating that process as you count your steps really reinforce that you don't count until you've measured that full unit length will really help with that idea of 0. Another way to help with the concept of why the distance from 3 to 8 is not 8 is the language we use to talk about when we're counting on. You can start at 3 and use that as a reference point and say 3 and 1 more, that's 4. Then go back to 3, say 3 and 2 more, that's 5. Repeat that process constantly going back to 3 as a reference point all the way to 8. So those are a couple strategies to help with that idea. The next most common incorrect answer is 6. And where that comes from, and this misconception shows up in later grades on the number line with fractions as well as the coordinate plane in middle school. And that misconception is they're simply counting the marks as opposed to the unit lengths. So the same things we talked about with using to get the 0 idea more solidified will work with this one as well. Another just kind of simple idea is as a teacher or a parent, when you're working with kids, iterate that unit length as they count. So start here, and instead of just tapping the marks, actually say 1, 2, 3, and so on, just like the steps, not actually counting until you've hit that full unit length. Another way to help remedy that misconception of 6 is when students first start building this idea of linear measurement, actually building it with objects so that they're counting those full units. And if you build something that you can write on, you can actually darken the edge of whatever object to reinforce that we're really just counting these linear lengths. So then finally coming down to the correct answer of 5 for how long that segment is, if you put all of those ideas together, you can help kids understand why the length is actually 5. So first, starting at 3, saying 3 and 1 more, 4, going back, 3 and 2 more, 5. And then when we want to count all those lengths, using that linear motion to make sure that we don't count until we've iterated that full unit length will really help with problems like the broken ruler.